Okay.
Lights, action, camera. Hi.
Hi.
We're gathered here today making a movie first. Actually, this is your life, Martha Nell Kyle Cotter. 77 years young today. You have your own very own song. Does anyone remember what song goes along with 77? Because I want someone to sing it.
77, Sunset Strip.
Right! 77,
Sunset Strip.
Yeah.
77, Sunset Strip. Was that your time? That was it. You got it. Okay. Now, this is
Hold please.
Martha Nell Cotter.
There she is.
Martha Nell Cotter, here she
She's
is,
zooming in on Mother.
was the baby daughter, the young baby, the baby daughter of Ruth and Norman Kyle, born April 20th, 1921. And I want to find out if anyone here knows, because someone here does know, where was Martha born?
I do.
Yeah, shout it out.
Tennessee. No, something Tennessee.
Gleason, Tennessee. Okay, Gleason, Tennessee. Martha Nell Kyle was born in Gleason, Tennessee, at home. At home. She doesn't remember how much she weighed, but that's okay because she never has weighed very much anyway.
Probably more than now.
And I asked Martha Nell, what was the thing that you remember your mother saying about you? And she said that I cried the first year of my life. And she said, looking back now, she realizes it's because she was hungry.
And I haven't been since.
Because maybe, and of course, back in those days, ladies breastfed their children. And so she wasn't getting enough fat in her diet.
So that's what my mother thinks.
Okay, all right. Now, what we want to know from this erudite group that's gathered here together, a family, is who was president when Martha was born? The year that Martha was born, 1921, who is the presidential expert?
Roosevelt.
George Washington.
Woodrow Wilson.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Woodrow Wilson, excuse me, that's a name that's popular in his family. Wilson, Woodrow Wilson, okay. Now, how many years difference were there? There were 3 children born to Ruth and Norman Kyle, Jimmy, Blanche, and the baby Martha. And how many years difference was there between she and her big sister Blanche?
8.
Good one. Good one. Right on, Suzanne. Right on, right on. And she used to say, what did you used to say when you were a little kid about Blanche?
What I was going to do.
What you were going to do, yeah.
Because I thought she was so mean to me that one of these days I'd be bigger than her and I'd go and beat her up.
She'd be older than Blanche. You'd tell her what to do, right?
And we literally did have a fight, which was a shocking thing. I mean, we didn't do that in my family. It was during football season, and everybody that was anybody wore their saddle Oxfords and their pleated skirt and their rush wool sweater and their string of pearls. I'm sure mine cost $0.25. And I got ready to put on my pearls to go to the football game, and my sister had let someone else borrow them, and I slapped her. Now keep in mind, now I'm 16, and so she's 24 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Mama was not home, and Daddy had to tear me away from her. That's the only time we ever
Dangle.
that.
Well, did she ever give you pearls away or loan your stuff out anymore after that?
Well, I wore her clothes all the time, because she worked and had more clothes than I did.
That was Blanche. Well, now, where did Martha graduate from high school, and what was the name of the town and the school? Who here would know this?
Suzanne should.
Well, that's
No,
say that.
Blyville.
Okay, Blyville High School. Did we say the year? Did we know the year that Martha graduated from high school? Martha knows, of course. Martha knows the year. What year was it?
37 or 38.
Well, one more year.
39.
39, right.
I did my math.
Now, our Nana, or as Kelly calls her, Banana, she said we're going over to Banana's house. Kelly says cute little things. Our Nana was good from the very beginning at keeping secrets. She's been good her whole life at keeping secrets.
Yeah.
That is very true. Now, the very first secret that our Nana kept was that she was secretly married to a man named Virgil Boyd. And she was, kept that secret for how long?
Year and a half.
A year and a half. Secretly married at what age? How old were you?
Well, I guess I was, it was December before I was 18 and,
17-year-old secret keeper.
You are a wild woman.
You're a wild woman,
you
right?
couldn't go to school if you were married.
Oh.
And so, one day, Big Daddy found out, but she was worried that Mama would find out because, what would Mama do? What did she used to do when she got upset?
Stare me down. Suzanne can tell you, Mama didn't have to say a word.
That's right. You learned well from her.
Blanche cried and cried and cried.
So she was a secret little bride there. Okay, but none of us never kept any secrets. Because Martha was a very psychic lady. Now, you remember when Princess Diana's brother gave this thing saying the one thing he valued so much about his sister Diana, Princess Di, was her intuition. Well, now, Martha Nell Kyle, soon to become, and was Martha Nell Kyle Boyd, was married to Virgil for 9 years and gave birth to a wonderful son, James Boyd. Dixon Boyd.
No, I just named him Jimmy.
Oh, you just named him Jimmy. Okay, it wasn't James. Okay.
Because he was named for my brother Jimmy, whose name was not Jimmy, was Jamie Wren.
Oh, right. And that one was a character, and he broke tradition in the South by A, marrying a Catholic, and B, marrying an Italian Catholic. Whoops.
Wasn't done.
It was not the done thing in a small town in the South.
Who was an Italian Catholic?
Aunt Joe.
Welcome back to the family. He said, who was an Italian Catholic?
Oh, we're going after Jimmy,
Uncle
okay.
Jimmy, Uncle Jimmy, not Brother Jimmy. Yes.
Wait a minute, how long was she married to Virgil before she had
9
Jimmy?
years.
Oh,
No,
before she
before you
had
had
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Oh,
What?
before you had, how long were you married to Virgil before you had Jimmy?
Well, he was born 41,
Oh,
And
yes.
you married in
38.
3 years.
Yeah, see, she
How'd
was
that happen?
See, y'all are just trying like hell to have me pregnant.
We were
No, I just want to know.
She did good. She did
How you
good.
managed to not be.
She just was a good girl.
It's hard.
She was a good girl.
Wait a second, you were married and your
No,
parents
afterwards, for 3 years.
You were married and your parents didn't know it for a year and a half?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Nobody knew it except this other couple that got married at the same time.
So you like just went out one evening and instead of going to McDonald's you got married? Wow. Okay. There you go, Martha. Wow.
And so, anyway, she and Virgil ultimately just separated and went their separate ways. And this girl came from Arkansas to Houston because she got a job, right?
I didn't come because I had no job.
We want you to tell that story because nobody's here that can come forth and tell us that one. So you came.
I came to Houston because Blanche, my sister, was here. She came to get away from Babe Craig's
Babe Craig's dad.
that she'd been going with for 7 years.
Oh my gosh!
And
And then they started me in that. That was what started the whole Aggie thing going. Okay.
then Jimmy
Up here for a reason.
Kyle came because of Uncle Luke living here. And Uncle Luke came because my Aunt Osie lived here.
So we finally had the whole great immigration from Arkansas to Houston,
And then my
Texas.
mom been
And then it ended up that Mama and Daddy came.
because they were all
And a man by the name of Thomas B.W. Cotter came too. And that's how it all got going. He came from Tampa, Florida to Houston, Texas, having divorced. And these two met, and I'm going to tell you, it was the most exciting thing how they met.
Well, first, let's say that we had been born and raised within 60 miles of each other,
Destiny,
Blytheville and
Memphis,
Memphis,
exactly. Yeah.
and met here.
And met here in Houston. This is the meeting place for lovers. Ta-da. Witness how many weddings have been in this family. We're going to talk about that in a bit. However, moving right along. Martha Nell Cotter, like I said, was going back to this thing about the brother of Princess Di saying the one thing he valued most about her was her intuition. Well, this lady is very psychic and very intuitive. And one day she met this really cute guy with curly hair. She met him. And she told Blanche, you know, I think that guy's going to ask me for a date. And sure enough, he did. Ask her for a date. And their first date, they went to the movies
You
to
didn't
see.
say where they met though.
Well, they met at the Savoy Hotel. They met downtown at the Savoy Hotel, where this was a kind of an old-fashioned place. Back in those days, the women had to all be on one floor, the men had to be on another floor, and they got together down where they had their common meal. And she's, right?
Yeah.
And she saw this cute guy, and she said, and then she talked to him outside one day. They got on the bus one day. They were going to do their laundry.
No, he was going home. He didn't live there at that time. He just took his meals.
Oh, he just ate there. Okay.
And I was going out to Blanche's to do my laundry.
And they talked on the bus, and that was the beginning. And then they went to see that Doris Day movie. But what was the name of that movie?
I don't remember.
Daddy liked Doris Day.
Pillow talk.
And that's kind of how that great love story all got started. And so it was love at first sight. But they, experts always say the woman always chooses, right? The woman always chooses.
Chooses
Got nothing
what?
to do with
The
the man.
movie
Chooses
or
the man.
Oh.
The woman always chooses. So Daddy didn't have a prayer there. Because Martha had always said, Blanche, that guy's going to ask me out for a date, and sure enough he did. And their courtship, well, that was in 1948. And they married happily February the 14th, 1949. And where do you think they got married, y'all? Where did Martha and Daddy get married?
First Methodist Church.
Suzanne, very good. First Methodist Church. And where did they go on their honeymoon? Bet y'all don't know this, but tell it, Martha.
One night at the Lamar Hotel.
A one-night stand.
At the Lamar Hotel.
Well, it was a little crowded in Houston. It was Fat Stock Show time.
Oh,
A rodeo.
So there were no rooms at the inn or what? That's where I had my senior prom, was at the Lamar Hotel.
You didn't say
It
when.
was a nice hotel. It wasn't as elegant as the Rise, but it was a nice hotel.
February 14th, 1949. And I asked, I said, did you and Daddy ever take a second honeymoon anywhere after that first one? And she said, well, we went with Peggy and Leonard to
New Orleans. But that wasn't for a second honeymoon.
No.
That was just.
without the kids.
Well, I was about 7 or 8, so it was a number of years before they got to go off alone.
And they settled into domestic bliss, first living in an apartment at, what was the first place you lived?
On Grosstown.
Rostock, that's right. That's where this
Off of West
This
Carolina.
the French lady there had a 4-bedroom house. Martha said she was the prettiest lady you've ever met. Is that the one we're talking about?
Yeah, she drove me crazy because she was nosy as hell. I came home one day and opened my closet, and I kept all my skirts with clothespins, And she had a straight pin in every one of my skirts. She thought I had taken her clothespin.
Oh my goodness. Oh, this does sound like a controlling lady.
Slap and fight.
Martha said that Daddy kind of took over from the moment they got together. He picked the place they were going to. He picked that room out. And then did you decide y'all didn't want to stay there, so you made up your mind to go somewhere
Well,
else?
no, we knew we couldn't stay there because when school was out, Mom and Daddy were bringing Jimmy.
All right, so you had to find a bigger place. And you found that on
Driscoll.
So Jimmy stayed with Mama.
Uh,
Jimmy stayed with Mama.
well, when I came, Mama pushed me to
Come to
Houston. I really didn't want to
That's
come.
okay.
That's right, I forgot.
Stand up for crying. Just stand up. It's fine.
And so once they find a bigger place and settle in, then in May of 1951, this handsome little rare little chubby baby boy is born to Martha and Tommy Cotter. And we call him Uncle Pat.
Well,
Boy Pat.
he had the distinction of being the only Cotter at that time, well, still, the only Cotter out of 34 grandchildren. Because there was just one other.
I was born 7 months after they were married.
No, you weren't. He has a lot of other distinctions. He's been having distinctions ever since he was born. Isn't that right? You were the first male in 34 grandchildren? Oh my gosh. Of course, Tommy Cotter was the 9th child.
First Cotter.
The first Cotter male.
That could be.
Yeah. very distinct little honor and privilege there.
There were 13 children in Tommy Cotter's family, but only 2 boys, Tommy and his brother Jimmy, and Jimmy and his wife never had any children, so that gave Pat the,
Distinction.
what's the word I want?
The distinction. The first distinguished
The
position.
obligation to carry on the
Cotter name. That's right.
The birthright.
Exactly, the birthright. Okay.
That's the cutest dress.
I got so many little notes here. Just y'all carry on chit chat amongst yourselves.
on yourself.
Now, anyway, Martha and Daddy did do a lot of things together besides have babies. They did a lot of dancing.
I didn't get you, Tracy.
A lot of dancing.
You kind of hard to turn this way. Let me
No,
get you-
That's pretty much a good close-up there, huh?
Yeah, there's really a nice close-up.
Okay.
Our new little mom-to-be.
Yes.
And so we're going around the room, and we're talking about one of the things that Martha and Daddy did together besides create babies. They danced. They used to do a lot of dancing, and some of the places they used to go was a place where there was, downtown they used to have these little places where a guy named Peck Kelly played, and
A lot of little places. That was back in the days where you took your own bottle. They were not,
it was like, we talking
and he
prohibition
didn't,
time
we
here?
were kind of, he didn't make much money, but a beer would last a long time.
And they made those beers last, and you made Daddy's dancing what? What did you do for Daddy's dancing?
I improved it.
You mean he wasn't a very good dancer to begin with?
Well, yeah, he was, except he couldn't do the jitterbug as good as I thought he could.
So then he became a really good jitterbugger. And so that was May 1951 that we had that birth of that son, and then along, Jimmy was born in 1941, Pat was born in 51, and 7 years later came the precious blonde and Suzanne, 1958. So we had 10 years apart, first 2 boys, and then 7 years later, Suzanne. Last but not least, Suzanne. And Suzanne was, what do you remember most about Suzanne as a baby, Martha?
How darling she was and how thrilled I was to have a girl. I wanted each child to be a girl.
But she didn't cry that whole first year, did she?
No.
Yeah, right.
Well, she was like the average child, into everything. And I remember we made a trip back to Blytheville. That's when Mom and Daddy still lived there. And my friends, Dr. Jean and Charles, decided to come home with us, and they followed us. And my house was bare because she got into stuff so bad. And,
Suzanne? I don't believe this stuff.
and
Yeah, me too. You told me I was good.
you know,
The
you
truth comes out.
leave things alone, and I just put them up rather than. By that time, you're tired of
Yeah.
trying to. And Dorothy Jean said, "Martha, I've never seen your house look like this.
So bare? You look so bare?
So
Let's
bad."
go so bare. Well, what did Suzanne like to do as a little kid?
Oh, she liked to play dolls, and she played. I don't know what all they played. She played with Randy and Kelly. And then she had some friends over. Who is that?
Sherry? You talking about Sherry Samander?
Who?
Sherry Samander?
Yeah, Sherry. But I was thinking about the little girl whose mother was in the Iron Lung. Used to go.
Oh,
with.
Janet Allen.
And she played a lot with Mary
Rhea.
Rhea. Her grandmother and grandfather lived in the big house down there. And Suzanne loved going there because they always invited her to lunch.
Imagine that. Food.
And they always had things that we didn't have. I always remember her talking about they always had cherries. I don't know what they Whether they
We
just
had
opened
fruit
up-
with cherries. No, it's probably fruit cocktail. That had cherries.
And so Suzanne had two brothers, and they were all. How did they all get along? And they knew they were gonna when they did have it, since they didn't do ultrasounds back then. How did they like it, their little sister? How did they treat her? How was Pat with his little sister, and how was Jimmy?
Oh, he was okay at times, but he was good at aggravating her.
What did he do to aggravate her?
Well, it
Jimmy or
stands
Pat?
that the year that Blaine was born, we went to Odessa, and Pat was 14, I guess, and she was what, 7?
7. I was 7.
And they fought all the way from here to Odessa. He's looking at me, and she's on my side.
When do we get there? We're almost there.
Oh, and that's I remember Rodon said, isn't that the longest trip?
And if I had 20 children, they'd have never come back.
Isn't it funny how kids know how to say the same things? All those years later, they still fight and say, she's looking at me. And then they
Touching
fight,
me.
she's touching me, and get over on your side, and how long are we almost there? Now see, things haven't changed. There's some things, Martha, that have changed, but there's
It's
some
about how
things
bad
that
you
haven't
are.
changed at all. So big brother Pat was teasing
Well,
his
he was
sister.
just at that age. I remember we'd been to town, and we picked up Tommy from work, and I had bought Suzanne a little sun hat that had an elastic band under the chin, and Pat pulled it and popped it, and
You were a tracheotomy.
and Pat, he did it again, and or anyway, his daddy told him he was gonna whip him when he got home if he did it again. He did it again, so
Stubborn little cuss.
you know, he whipped him.
Did you have to go out and get your own switch hat? What did Daddy use to whip you? His hands?
Oh no, I had to do that. No, Daddy didn't do that. Daddy had
He had a belt?
no, he used a belt on me. He had a belt.
The pink
Oh,
ball.
bolo.
Polo board.
Oh,
Polo board.
Out of the drawer.
That's what I out of the drawer.
Yeah,
Well, you took that.
slat out of a drawer. It got broke. It routed out. It broke. And
And
somebody made me
I've
drive
forgotten
back there and
that.
get a
You know
switch.
our bolo board
I
is.
remember,
Everybody
I
got
remember now,
spanked with
because-
the bolo board.
Yeah.
And look how well you've all turned
That's
out.
how well we got turned out.
Well,
Pat-
the punishment works, huh?
Pat took the bolo board and he wrote on it, "Whoever uses this is retarded."
The Board of
They
Education.
used that same board for many years. Retarded or not.
And they work. It's a shame it's against the law.
Now who delivered, excuse me, I'm sort of gotten off on a little track here. Who delivered this man was a man that's been kind of long in our family, a doctor who's now retired, named Philip J. Sakala. Martha was his last OB patient, and so you not only had a distinction of being the first man, you were also Dr. Sakala's last delivery.
Not Pat, Suzanne.
Oh, Suzanne,
Oh.
Suzanne, oh, sorry. Oh,
He
cancel
didn't, he
that.
didn't deliver Pat.
Oh, we didn't deliver that, all right, all right. Suzanne was, all right, we don't have that distinction.
Just sewed up my tongue.
You sewed up your tongue?
Your
Dr.
tongue?
Sakala? For what?
Tell us what happened to your tongue.
What happened to your tongue, man?
I remember that.
I was about 4 years old and I was pushing a baby carriage. I had a collapsible handle and a double handle and I had my tongue in between it. And got my mouth open and my big mouth got
Well, this family,
I nearly cut my tongue in half and had to have it tied back up. And they had to put me in restraints so that I.
for heaven's
Again, they did
sake.
a few years ago.
So you stand, you gotta go back and do that child stuff again.
You must have been concentrating very hard.
Must be-
Pushing the buggy.
Do you realize that I was a little girl in Florida pushing my sister to baby carriage with Daddy?
And gave me my head injury.
And I let it
What
go.
head injury?
She fell. One that made me crazy. I was pushing the buggy and I let go of the buggy and the buggy went gone. So,
She turned it over.
We moved in this
so
house.
that's where Pat thinks I'm only gonna hurt her now.
It was one many of the things she did there for her.
Yes. Sell our land.
Oh my gosh.
And you went on
Did
to
you
work
know
for
how much
Dr.
this house,
Sakala.
how much they bought this house for?
Yeah, we're getting ready to say that. Yeah, we're
Oh,
gonna have to say
I
that. No,
just
you did,
skipped
but that's a
ahead.
very good question. Good thing.
We lived in Montrose before it was cool to live in Montrose.
Yeah, right, you lived in Montrose before it was cool to live in Montrose on Driscoll.
That wasn't called Montrose.
No, what, come on.
What was it called?
You didn't have a gay flowering population there like it has now, really strong, where I now work and connected over there, and was there before I even came
It's
here.
nothing but apartments over there.
And Blanche had a duplex down the street, just down the street from Mom and Dad's.
Your daddy wanted to buy that house.
You should.
I'm
Well, that
glad
house
we
was for
didn't.
sale, Pat and I went by and looked at that
On Driscoll?
on Driscoll.
I didn't know you didn't buy that house. They rented it over, you rented it those years?
What?
You rented the house on Driscoll?
She didn't know you didn't buy it, she said.
I didn't know.
We
you rented
could
it.
have, yeah.
No, they didn't buy a house until they bought this lovely place here at 6123 Abington Way, and they bought it in, what year did you buy this house?
55.
55, and folks, we've been here a long time. This year is 1998, so how many years have we been here?
33?
And how much? Go back to
And how much, Julie's gonna say how much this house was.
$14,000.
Oh my God.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
On a GI loan, GI bill.
And the
right?
house
14
payment was?
Just half of it. He used half of it to buy the house for y'all.
What house?
On Sunflower.
Sunnyside,
On Sunflower. Sunflower.
Sunnybrook,
Sunflower.
Sunflower.
You bought that house? Oh, I didn't know you bought that house there.
What-
Well, anyway.
What was the house payment here? How much was the house note?
110 or something, just real high.
Oh yeah.
And this is where this happy family came and where Pat and I used to come down in the summers and have our most wonderful time, taking the train down from Ohio to come and visit our relatives. I hate that word, half sister and half brother, because you're actually a whole brother, and she's a whole sister. But anyway, she's my whole sister, and you're my half brother.
Y'all used to come visit on Driscoll too.
I know, yeah, of course we did. We did come visit.
Do you
on
remember
Driscoll.
Dad having a makeshift swimming pool in the backyard?
I do.
Cement swimming?
Yes, and he used to dive in that.
You used to be Daddy would dive in that in 6 inches
With his
of
kilo
water.
stripe, kilo stripe bathing suit on.
It was a goldfish pond.
I think some people work on their cars in or something.
He's talking about the swimming pool out in the backyard at Driscoll.
Like a driveway.
It ain't been a goldfish pond, have it, Martha?
No.
It was a
Has the swimming
goldfish
pool been a
pond.
goldfish pond on Driscoll?
No, Mr. D was, that lived there, was, a carpenter or something. He worked for Montalbano Lumber Company, and he was a man, builder and everything. And he built it he had a house full of kids. He just put it there for his children.
Oh, so
It
it was,
wasn't a pool.
He didn't
it was
own
too
the house.
shallow.
it was just for, like a baby pool. That's all it was a baby pool. But Daddy used to dive, because Daddy was a diver, so he did this really, really daredevil diving into that shallow little pool with his striped bathing suit on. Remember that striped bathing suit he had? Now, I must tell you that my mother, Margot, in Ohio, decided this one summer, as we were coming down, that she would tell me about the facts of life. She would tell me about sex. Because I was going to go be hanging out with my stepbrother, Jimmy, and my other brother, and she was worried that I might be messing around. So she elected to sit me down, with my sister not being old enough to hear, but she was up on the stairs, sneaking, listening to the sexual facts of
About
life.
half got it all my life.
And my mother proceeded to tell me what she and my father did in order to have me, and I was shocked. Because I was a very little religious child. Back in those days, I was very prudish. I got over it later. But back in those days, because Jimmy, we did do one thing. Remember when we took off our clothes and I put the tie around? I was a bit of a daredevil sometimes with Jimmy.
No we about this now.
I took off my clothes and I put a daddy's tie on my boobs, and I did kind of do a little striptease number there. But that's the only
Pat, here
time.
comes the sex part.
But I did not get in any trouble with my brother.
It's your mom.
She
I'm
used to
talking
run
about.
around to the bathroom window though and say we were gonna look at him with his clothes off, but that was you too.
That was me. I was.
You did that too.
Look at who,
And
look
look at
how
Jimmy.
old
Look
were
at
we?
Jimmy.
I was about what, 10, 9, 10.
Oh, did you?
I don't remember that. I guess I was just curious. I had gotten over some of my repulsion.
I don't think you saw him though.
No, I didn't see him. No, I never saw him. But what we do, we all used to play Monopoly a lot. We ate on Martha's delicious Fiesta dishes. We had delicious food on Martha's delicious colorful, which she still has. for Fiesta dishes, which Pat's saving because he knows they're worth something.
I tell them that used to be a breezeway there.
That used to be a breezeway out there. Yes, that den out there. Daddy put all those egg cartons up with somebody else told this story. But that's where we had our little boyfriends out there as well.
You had boyfriends. I didn't have any boyfriends.
We
Anyway, but
yeah.
that was it was a screen porch, and it was so cool out there in December. I can remember that. I mean, even in the summer, it was
But it'd be
really
hotter
cool.
than hell.
No, it wasn't as
No,
cool
it
as
wasn't.
anything. The weather was not as cool hot as
It was,
now.
yeah, it was different.
Oh, it's
because you
fabulous.
could sit out there, and it was. And I used to listen to Elvis.
Yes, she sat out there.
Oh, dream! I didn't have any boyfriends. I had Elvis.
I had a tacky old rocking chair that Blanche bought at a fire sale, and Pat, I had it out there, and Pat got in my lap till he was 5 or 6 years old for me to rock him.
Oh, well. And to this day, he still likes loving and
I
being
remember
loved
that.
on.
I remember that rocking
We used to have those fights over Jimmy and playing that Monopoly, and we get mad and we throw that Monopoly money out in the backyard at Driscoll. I do remember. Sometimes we
It
took
sure
our Monopoly
was
tables
fun
here.
for me all summer.
Yeah, Martha was sure glad to see us gone, just like she will be today when we get over this movie. She's gonna go, God bless her, gone. I can go take my clothes off, get my bathrobe on, and get into bed.
I'm so exhausted. I've never been tired in my life.
Well, so many different things have happened over the years, and we are going to now have some different people here start remembering things that they remember. Anyone that would like to just jump in there and say, I remember Mama, I remember Nana, because... How about you, Tracy, since you're sitting over there?
Not me first. No, I have to listen to more stories.
You have to listen to more stories.
Yeah, I have to. And then,
Talk loud.
She can't hear you, so try to say it louder.
no, I have to listen to everybody tell stories, and I'll remember something. I mean, that stands out. There's
And dredge up some memories.
no.
Well, I,
I was
think
thinking about this.
I do remember probably the most infamous story was a Christmas here, where my sister and I opened some Christmas presents. You know, I'm sure everyone's heard this a billion times.
I heard it already today once.
I'm sure you did. Yeah. Well, you know, I had to think of something, and I figured that was probably it. But we opened presents, not just ours, but everybody's. And
It wasn't even Christmas.
you know, yeah, it wasn't even Christmas yet. But,
How old were you?
The tree was right there.
I think I was 5 or 6. Probably 5 or 6.
Well, I know your
I
brother
I know there was
said
a
you were.
thrashing or so that occurred shortly thereafter.
A
so I think
thrashing?
Thrashing.
But so as far as the memory of that goes, I think I blanked it out from that point
Well,
on.
Aunt Jeanette said a few years ago, she said, you know, we were old enough
To know better. Oh yeah.
Well, who thrashed you? Who gave you that thrashing?
Well, I think it was Paul.
Oh, you think it was Papa? That would have been one to remember.
Well, you were in over on the walking over to Blanche's and walking in Mac's garden.
Oh yeah, that was the time Daddy and I had the big falling out. That was because, you know, it's okay when you fuss at your own kids. When somebody else fusses at them, it's like it's not the same thing. And well, my children, let's see, Shannon, Tracy, and I don't think it was all of them. Maybe just Sean wasn't born yet, but Shannon, Tracy, and maybe Aunt Jeanette had gone over to Uncle Mac's, and they trumped around his flower garden. Uncle Mac had been mad and told Daddy, and Daddy told me that my kids were terrible and undisciplined and had trumped around them, and we had our falling out. We had a big falling out, which Martha, being the peacemaker that she was, tried to prevent.
Well, no, it was the first time you brought Lynn over.
Oh.
And he was telling me, I was just fascinated. He was telling me one tale right after another.
He probably had what a tale he told.
Really? And the kids were,
I know it.
I don't know what you and your daddy were doing, but I was listening to Lynn, you know. And I know that they were eating. We had a bowl of candy, and if they didn't like it, they just stomped it out on the patio, and in the meantime, they went over to Blanche's and walked in Mac's garden, and
Just getting through to the bayou.
Poor
actually.
little
So
kids.
the car just happened to be in the way at the time.
But you see, at son Kevin's house, he has a nice yard that's landscaped, and he has to fuss about people walking in his flowers. Things do tend to carry over.
All
can
kids
you
do that.
remember
All
that
kids
at
do
all? He had that
Oh, yeah.
And the landscape, you know.
He had
he did
landscape
his-
timbers and he had,
Yeah.
Yeah, he had
lots of
railroad
vegetables.
ties.
Yeah, railroad
going
ties.
down,
Mhm.
yeah. So it was a bow.
Sure. I think I made
No, I
a
think it was
couple bucks
concrete.
more than. I think it was
It was
No,
concrete.
it was concrete.
It was concrete.
Because they poured concrete around everything.
Yeah, it
Trees
was passed down
and-
by the bow.
No, it was all concrete beds. It was,
Yeah.
it was,
All concrete.
Hmm.
it was
Sounds
pretty
better if you say
unique.
railroad ties
But no,
That's
he
right.
did have those big old things, those wooden things as well. He did have those as well. Because Martha.
Up against the fence, he had.
The other
Yeah.
one,
But it was
where the
one layer and then this, but it was concrete.
Maybe there were some railroad ties.
I know. Let's settle this. Let's walk over there
Some
now and
point.
go.
That's right.
well, anyway, it was all traveled up.
And
I
it was
just
my
don't-
kids that did it.
I just drove
Never
back
got
and
it,
looked
never
for the
recovered.
kids a few minutes ago. So,
Well, they're down in the woods.
And you never discipline your grandkids now, huh?
Huh?
You never discipline your grandkids.
Now,
She's been in trouble
As a
for
matter
it
of fact,
too.
yeah, just recently I did call.
She's been in trouble for it.
Did you yell at her?
I have.
Yeah, I
Yes, he
did.
did, as a matter of fact.
We had a little falling out.
A much minor falling out. Yes, indeed. Much more minor falling out. Yes, because you see, God, you do get to live old enough to understand a few things that you didn't understand when you weren't that old. Looking back, you go, gee, I never thought I'd get to this place, and then sure enough you do. And isn't that true? I'm hearing you. Well,
It must be
Just
say
say
it's
yeah.
true,
Yeah,
Mother.
just say, I never thought I'd be a worrier. I was
That's
always so
right.
angry at my own grandmother for being such a worrywart. Of course, grandmother's blind, but I mean, she was and she's a Virgo too. So she was a worrywart. She was a Virgo. So grandmother, if my kids were late coming home from school, she had them raped and dead in a ditch somewhere. I mean, she just worried a lot, excessively. And of course, I was the extreme opposite because then I didn't worry, and so because I couldn't stand all that worrying. But when I had grandchildren myself, and they started doing things that were the least bit little dangerous, when I realized that I could be a worrier. I mean, I always worry when at Kevin's houses, he's always had swimming pools and kids jumping in the swimming pool and little babies walking around the swimming pool, and I was constantly nervous about that. So, grandmother, I already apologized to her a bunch of times. I'm sorry. I did learn to worry, and I'm not a Virgo. And I did learn to be a worrywart about things. So when you get a little older, you can then realize that things, happen. So you become a little bit more vulnerable. Isn't that right? Mr. Young, Uncle Pat. Now, Uncle Pat had a hearing problem. Because Uncle Pat had a band. Now let's talk about how he used to practice, and that Martha and Daddy had high hopes for you being another.
No.
Well, let's tell the story about
No.
it. What was the name of your band, Uncle Pat?
This is about Mom. This is not
Well,
about me.
what
The
Mom?
name of my band was The Nobleman. And my first guitar, she got Mama to buy me my first guitar for
Well,
me.
that's about her. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And your first guitar.
And Daddy took me down to H&H to get my second guitar, Fender Stratocaster. And helped me. He financed it, and I helped pay it off.
And so were you really good?
Yeah, I was.
Crosby, Stills, and Nash. What were you like? Who was your hero?
Me.
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan.
Well, what music did you play? What music did you play?
Top 40 from in the middle 60s. It was top 40 music.
And where did y'all play? Y'all were a professional band.
We
though.
played, at the Rinky Dink, and we played at the Dungeon out in Spring. We were the startup band for them. We played in Orange, Texas. We played lots of sock hops and just high schools, and we used to charge like $50 or $60, so we'd have $10 a piece. And we'd go out to eat afterwards and spend it all.
Well, see, a budding musician, and then Didn't Daddy start taking guitar lessons at one point too?
Yeah, he took
Ukulele.
Ukulele lessons. Did he practice Daddy taking ukulele lessons?
Yeah,
Ukulele. Did he play around a lot? Can you sing? Ukulele.
No, he'd go over to some man's. He started playing over at All Saints where they were teaching it, and this guy, he'd go over to his house, and he was just really getting really interested in it when he died.
Ukulele stuff. Well, and so all this wonderful music that we've had in this family. Music has been the one thing that has kept our family going and liking music. Now, what was Suzanne's favorite song? And were you going to be a ballet dancer, toe
No,
dancer?
I liked dancing, but I took piano for about a year, and I loved piano.
And do you still play?
No, but that's my dream to have a piano and play again someday.
Okay.
But I danced for a long time.
Yeah,
too.
Blanche had a
That was
pump
my
organ,
thing.
antique pump organ.
Oh
Didn't
yeah.
Suzanne really get off to like Wayne Newton?
No, it was
Bobby Sherman.
Bobby Sherman.
Do you remember that?
Oh, absolutely, sure.
Yes, you do.
I remember that.
Oh,
Who's Bobby Sherman?
Who's behind?
he was
Oh,
you know that song?
Easy come, easy
Yeah.
go. That was,
That was at
I
her prom, wasn't it? Or
It was
not,
at the-
graduation.
No, it was
a
at-
dance recital out at, I don't know what it is now, it was that theater in the round.
Arena Theater.
Okay.
yeah.
Right,
What is
right.
it called
That was
now?
last
the arena
That was
theater,
last
yeah.
one.
Yeah, that, your daddy brought y'all.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Well, I remember Daddy brought us to what?
No,
Oh, your dad,
my
Chuck.
brought-
You mean Chuck,
yeah,
right,
brought
yeah,
us to her dance recital.
Well, Suzanne went back and took dancing after
That's Brooke.
she married.
Oops.
Was it
Yeah.
before Ashley was born?
Before and after.
Was she born early in the morning,
Uh-huh.
Suzanne?
Uh-huh.
No.
Yes.
Was Suzanne born early in the morning?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Which time was Suzanne born?
I think she was born early in
Like
the morning.
12:10.
Well,
8
every-
o'clock. My
No.
thing says
8 o'clock.
Oh, your birth certificate.
my little silver thing says 8 o'clock, Mother.
Well, they had me so knocked out, I just hated that. You
I
know,
thought she just barely missed my birthday.
well, no, I went to the hospital that night, doctors. I talked to Miss Sakala, and she said he was at a meeting to go on, and he'd be there about 10 o'clock. And he came and went on. I wasn't doing too great, so he said, well, do you want to have a baby tonight, or you want to go to sleep? Doesn't
That's
that
Dr.
sound just
Sakala.
like him?
Dr. Sakala, he's laid back Libra. Exactly,
And he
yes.
spent the night, and they knocked me out so that they told me it was a girl, and I was thrilled. But then I went to my room, and I said, I want to see my baby. And they said, we've already shown her to you. And I said, well, I didn't see her. I wanted to see
Yeah,
her.
just like a nurse.
You want to see her again?
I want to talk about something. This will surprise people as they watch this. Mom and Dad were big time partiers from about 1955 to 1960 after they moved here with the Stroms and the Coonies and the Woods. Blanche and Matt. They used to party all
Block
the time.
parties.
Tell us about that. Tell us about
Tell us about
that.
those famous block parties.
Over on Wynwood.
Party.
Well, it'd just somebody'd say, let's barbecue chicken or something. And
So we ran out and caught the chicken.
Somehow entertaining
They,
happens on a grander scale.
when we bought this house, I said, well, I wouldn't want one of those houses that was very new then, that had the den next to the kitchen, you know. But, and Tom and I found Timber Grove. We looked in every part of town, and we just fell in love with it because at that time it was just covered with pine trees. And
Which are now nearly
we
50
had a
years
little
older.
problem trying to get a loan because he had already used half his GI. And before we could buy a house, Marion and Bill bought a house across 11th, and Walter and Henry. Well, we all lived in the apartments together.
Right.
So when we finally moved in over here, but before we moved, they'd call us. I remember one Saturday night, called and said, come on over, you know, and drink a beer or two or three and cook something. And then as they got acquainted with the neighbors, it was just, we did it a lot, you know.
Yeah, that was fun. We had good fun memories.
Well,
of
it
those times.
was fun. It really was.
They were pretty sexy, Marion and Bill. Well, I remember them. They were a sexy, cute little couple, and the Walter and
And
Henry
you know,
were rich.
Marion and Bill are both dead, and Archie and Imogene are dead, and Chink Manning is dead, and Walter is dead, Henry living out there in that.
Sugarland. She lives in Sugarland, don't she? Good looking woman, yeah, good looking woman. So she got gray hair or white hair now? She always wore her hair pulled
I
back.
saw her down at Jean's funeral. Oh, she looked good, but she must be afraid to turn loose her money. I just thought, well, she'll really live it up, you know. But she said no, she's still driving Walter's Cadillac.
Don't you remember though, she used to buy all those cans and she used to buy all those canned goods and store them. She was so afraid of losing his money. No,
Really?
having
And
a
I bet
family.
she's just
She'd buy cans by the case that she knew she wouldn't even ever use. She was afraid to.
one of those people that's afraid to spend her money. I imagine her daughters have to spend it.
Well, that's making me think of something that we got to talk about Big Daddy's little store, his little grocery store that he had. Speaking of canned goods and things, because I remember getting those nice, cool orange drinks in the summer over at Big Daddy's store.
Kyle's grocery store.
Kyle's grocery store over on what street was on?
What?
14th Street.
14th.
Grocery store. that Big
14th
Daddy
and a
had.
half.
14th.
They lived on 14th and a half, right?
And so, what did Big Daddy always like to have that made him happy?
Oh, I said just give him a can of beer and a package of Fritos and a ball game,
And he'd be-
baseball game, National League.
So,
Big Daddy with the suspenders.
did y'all used to go get free stuff over at Big Daddy's store, Pat and Suzanne?
I got
Oh,
some
yeah.
free stuff one time. Got caught smoking the cigar that I got free
You don't remember
in the
that?
bathroom.
Really?
I smoked a cigar in the bathroom, and
I
Mom.
walked down the hall with a bolt was just coming out from under the door.
You were
I
pretty good at hiding.
blew the smoke out the window. She wouldn't smell
Well,
it.
she was really good at finding out all kind of stuff because Chuck Conboy, father of 4 of the children present here today, Charles Conboy, and I actually made love in this house.
Oh,
When Martha and Daddy were away on the couch. Under that nice air conditioner used to be right in that window.
I would have told that.
They were awake or asleep?
They were gone.
Oh.
It was in the house without, you don't think I did it when they were here. And then of course, being the fertile soul that I was and the Taurus that he was, I got pregnant. And of course Martha said to me one day, "Are you pregnant?" Because she was really good at sussing these things out. And
She's
I-
still
and
all about you fooling around on her couch.
No, she knew that.
I told her.
Oh.
Yes, you did. You forgot this one. This is a long time.
Oh, she's so
She
shocked.
does know. She does
no,
know.
I didn't know you'd been fooling around on the couch, but I knew you were pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was showing.
And then yes, and so they had a chat. They were taking the kids to Six Flags. Martha, Daddy had a chat, and they decided that I shouldn't have to get married, like my mother and dad did. That I should that they would take the child and raise it if I didn't want to get married. And of course, I told my father because I was scared to tell him I wasn't really sure. Also, that I wasn't sure, but because I was very sure. So I told him, absolutely not, I'm sure, and I'm going to get married here. But then I, of course, had a miscarriage, and then because Anjanette did not want to come into that routine, that pattern was broken. So Chuck and I did get married. I had the miscarriage not long after, 13 weeks perhaps. I was working at the bank downtown, and my first job in Houston was a bank. Get this, my first job in Houston was a bookkeeper at a bank, taking care of other people's money. Keeping their money balanced. Something went wrong ever since. But that was my first job in Houston, Texas when I moved here from Ohio. And so Anjanette decided she wasn't going to be no conceived out of wedlock child. And so, of course, Chuck and I had this beautiful wedding at All Saints Church. And we'd had all those nice wedding presents. And then I had this miscarriage and I thought, well, maybe I'm not supposed to stay married. But then I said, no, God wants me to stay married. And so then I did, and then I got pregnant with Anjanette. So I had broken the pattern. And Anjanette did not come in herself. Now later she started the pattern up again, but Martha had said, you can't escape Martha's intuitive eye. Are you pregnant? And I went, I cannot tell a lie. Yes, I am. And so then, of course, and also because you see, like she was afraid of her mother telling her mother the truth. Well, I was afraid of Daddy and telling Daddy the truth.
I was embarrassed to tell Mama that I was pregnant and I was
And
married.
she was married.
Mama just thought,
Mama didn't think people did that.
well, I don't know how she ever had any children, really, because she just sex to her was, and
Just
when
like it
I
was to
said,
grandma.
told her that I was pregnant with Suzanne, you know, and at my age, no, she refused to believe it.
You and Daddy
No,
weren't
I
doing
was-
that
I
nasty
was
thing.
going through the change early.
Oh,
Really?
really?
That's what she thought.
That's sex. She didn't think you and Daddy did it.
Uh,
She didn't think, y'all didn't talk about sex in those days to each other. Well, to show you how things
you
have
mean
changed.
Mom and I?
Yeah.
What'd you mention, Dad?
Oh, you don't let you and Daddy talk about sex?
No,
That's a good thing.
she never told me one thing.
She never told you the facts of life, never, about the birds and the bees. Well, who'd you learn that from? Blanche?
Oh, Lord, no. Well, I learned about it through experiment.
You learned about it from Virgil when you were 17. Listen,
And I didn't know anything, but other people did. I didn't.
you didn't know how, you mean how you had a baby, or, I mean, what caused you to have a baby, or?
I knew the act, but I didn't know that there was sperm.
Yeah, right. And orgasms and clitorises and things like that. We all have to know today in the 90s. We're just 90s people now. And we have Sally Jesse Raphael and Oprah Winfrey and Jerry Springer and what's his name, Money and Montel, and so all this stuff is
And
like
President.
And President Clinton. That's right. So kids got to know this stuff nowadays. My gosh.
It's part of social studies.
Yes. Of the social studies. Yes, but it's interesting how the moral things have changed, you know, so,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Well, that's what our grandmother, one of the things she used to say was that when a girl loses her virtue, she might as well be dead. But that was what her grandmother had said to her. When a girl loses her virtue, she might as well be dead. So some of us lost our virtue and weren't dead though. However, things have, thank goodness, changed since then. And now, when my daughter Shannon got married, she, which was just recently, after 5 years of living in a common law connection with Tat Fennell, my son-in-law, she called to tell me on the phone, she says, Mom, remember that thing I told you Tap would never do? And I said, like with the bed? I mean, what did she tell me? She says, no, meaning, no, it wasn't that. It was cunnilingus is what she was referring to. And I went, Shannon, you're telling me this on the phone? Is Tap right there by you? And she goes, yes. And I said, I can't believe you're telling me this. I was shocked. I mean, so
I can't believe you're telling it now.
How about Shannon? I hear you. Shannon Tap.
she knows. Shannon was very open. She was letting her
We're gonna
daughter,
edit this
her
thing.
mother know. This is showing how changed it is. That the new mother and daughter stuff is that the daughter will tell you stuff that maybe you didn't want to know either. You know, so it's different now. So we've moved right along. But some what Tracy? Now are you gonna have you remembered a story to tell about now?
I should always switch it to me after that subject. No, I'm in shock still.
Well, I was in shock too. Okay, so have you remembered a memory that you can talk about from your
There's
child?
lots of different memories. There's lots of different things I remember.
Somebody screaming.
Well,
Okay.
There's
Well,
just
that's
lots
okay.
of
We're
different
almost done. We
things.
can't quite end it yet because we have a phone call to come. We have a transatlantic phone call coming. But I mean, well,
Tell a story, Tracy.
yeah, tell a story. Tracy.
I'm trying to think of something that stands out that.
When you were little or when you were a teenager.
Well, I've been thinking about this ever since they've told me about the party today. I mean, well, what can I remember that stands out? I mean, there's
a
just
favorite
tons of
meal, a good Christmas, a birthday time here, or something with Papa on the
I
back.
miss her brisket, her Christmas brisket that she used to make.
oh, here?
Yeah. Probably, I guess, she's thinking of food now.
Yeah, let's think of food.
I'm thinking of food now. Yeah,
You
brisket was good, and now we get a wild conglomeration of food now. Instead, it was always brisket and beans and ham, and that was a nice.
Well, it's a totally different food, totally different menu. Pat and I remember other menus that Martha made because Martha was the most fantastic cook.
Thank
She's
you.
always been a fantastic cook. we had.
Hungarian,
Suzanne that.
Hungarian goulash or something.
Tell Brian.
What was that layered stuff we used to have?
That was that
Said I was
spaghetti.
the most fantastic.
She was. I have the most
Uh-huh.
fantastic memories of food in connection with Martha. Roast beef and gravy made with cornstarch and rice and
Are you gonna stay inside?
Oh,
spaghetti,
yeah.
that Chinese spaghetti that,
Oh, that
God, she was the most, I mean,
Chinese
The
cabbage.
Chinese cabbage, that's a thing. Oh, that
she
was
had that
so
great
good.
big old pot that she cooked everything in, and I swear to goodness,
I
my
don't
mother
remember
never fed us.
Chinese
Do
cabbage.
you remember that?
Chinese cabbage?
She might have
No.
quit doing that before you were born.
Was it
They
cooked
made it because
cabbage?
they made it all the time. No, it was layered with potatoes and ground beef
Yeah,
It
and
was ground
onions
beef and a layer of onions and celery and green pepper and
Ooh, that sounds good.
steamed it all together.
cabbage was on top.
Yeah,
You
that was
sliced-
oh gosh, that was good. It smelled so
sliced
good
it and
cooking.
then he put soy sauce and water and cooked it till the potatoes were done.
Oh, yeah. I'm just making me hungry listening to this all this stuff about this food.
I have a story.
I have.
I have a story.
Okay.
Good, good, good.
I have a story about Martha when Martha and I really used to be best pals, and we used to sit back there. I'll never forget those twin beds when I'd come home from nursing school, and we talked about everything. I mean, everything. You remember? And there was this.
Stanton talked about to.
No, but there wasn't any of that to even talk about.
What?
She said, "Did I talk about what Shannon talked about?" I said, "There wasn't any of that to talk about. It was nursing school and things, you know." But so anyway, I had this date with this boy, Roy Don, for the first time, and the Aggies were in town for a football game, and Blanche and Martha and Daddy and everybody went to the Aggie football games, and they were playing Rice, and I was at home for the weekend, and I was sitting under the hair dryer. And it was one of those bonnet hair dryers.
Yes.
Oh, we were so
Oh, God,
cute with
was
that
that-
sunbeam thing, remember?
Yeah.
And we were just so cute. And Martha went, I didn't even hear the phone ring. Martha went to the phone, and there was this boy on the phone. She came in, and we didn't know Roy Don. This was his first time down. And he thought, we found out later, he thought Martha was my sister. Because he'd heard me just talk about Martha and like that, you know, and Babe had just talked about Martha, and it was just, you know, so, and then there was this girl, Patty, who's going to be out with. So she comes and she makes me turn off the hair dryer, and I turn it off, and she says to me, I just talked to the cutest boy on the phone, and you know what? He wants you to bring the Jim Beam. And I said, what? He said to tell you to pick up a bottle of Jim Beam and that they would pay you for it. And of course, I've never bought any Jim Beam in my life, nor did I drink it. And of course, we were supposed to go to a club after the ball game. And of course, that was when you did bring your own bottle in. And when Roy Dodd found out that Martha was my mother, he about died because he would have never said that.
Bring the
To her,
Jim
was to tell Pat, but Babe had told him to call and tell that. You remember that? So anyway, that was his introduction to family, but she still liked him anyway.
Well, Jim
She wasn't
Beam.
mad about the Jim Beam.
Jim Beam.
She wasn't mad, but she knew I wouldn't drink it.
That was back in those days. Your dad drank Jim Beam. He used to be the Boilermaker, Jim Beam, and a beer chaser.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jim Beam's kind of been around the family.
But no, Martha wasn't worried about it because she knew I wasn't going to be drinking it, and it was okay if the boys did. She wasn't going to fuss about the boys doing it.
So Martha, Nell, Kyle, and Tommy Cotter had amongst them 5 children. 5, 3 and 2. And in when she was 41 years of age, you and I have this distinction that this is alike, she became a grandmother. And I became a grandmother also at 41 years of age, just way too young, when you're just barely past 40. And so her first grandchild is meant to be calling any minute now. She's no longer here. I mean, she's not here in Houston. She lives in England.
She's no
The
longer
first-
with us.
She no longer lives. She lives in High Wycombe. So when the phone rings, it's meant to be Anjanetta sometimes. So she's going to call us. Now, Martha said that she'd had 5 or 6 kids. She was hoping she wanted to have some of her own grandchildren. But I kept having babies of mine.
And I thought I'd never have a grandchild of my very own.
And so finally,
Fool me.
she did. It all got started there, but I had to kickstart it because, see, Aries, you got to always do that sort of thing. I had to go to nurses training first so my sister could go and be the wonderful nurse she is. I had to go to Texas first and date an Aggie so my sister could come and meet and marry an Aggie.
You don't go to Texas and meet an Aggie.
Well,
To Texas.
to Houston, I meant
Here we are with those Texas things again.
I had to start having them
Everyone
babies.
in Texas has cowboy boots.
I had to start having them babies, and then, eventually somebody in his family would start having some. And then,
Okay.
and so what happened was when I went to the hospital after having had Anjanette to have my second son, Kevin, of course, it was really funny. Martha was taking care of Anjanette for me. But I had to leave her a very long, detailed letter of everything that she was going to have to do for Anjanette because I didn't think.
Down to the song she was supposed to sing while she was sitting on the body.
So this does show that I have since apologized profusely to Martha and Daddy for acting like, when young people, like I'm experiencing this now at age 56.
Oh, it was just all that stuff I was supposed to do, and
No, later.
I didn't pay any attention to her.
You did
Good for you.
But you see, because I am now in the position like Martha was then, when your children think you don't know doodly
I
squat,
have one.
and you only know where things are in the house. Mom, where's my socks? Mom, do you know where Mom is? So you always know where everything is, but you don't know what causes everything, because then you're full of SHIT. However, I'm at that age now when my children go, I go over to my son's house to even try and cook and mashed potatoes, and he doesn't, I get treated. So now I know what that's like. See, I know what that's like to be on that shoe on the other foot, and I apologize profusely. I'm so sorry I did that.
Suzanne has a story. Suzanne has a story.
Well, I think this is like a dumb little thing, but Mom was probably, she wasn't like into crafts or sewing or anything like that. Mama was a seamstress in the family, but one thing she did was she made this rooster that hung over our kitchen table for years and years. Do you remember that? And it was made out of beans, and
I do.
she had to
I
like
do remember that.
glue each little
Where is
bean.
All that damn turkey. It ended up getting weevils in
It
it.
was a
I'd forgotten that.
But it was so neat. You were like painstakingly gluing every bean. It was all different kinds of beans. There were split peas and red beans and
It got weevils.
yeah.
Like
Well, it was probably very old by the time it got taken down and got weevils in it.
old.
But it was really neat,
I'd
and it
forgotten
was
that turkey.
special that you did that.
Whatever it was.
So
Where'd she do it at?
I don't know, but I remember it made her nervous. Gluing all those
I
beans.
never was an arts and crafts person.
Anyway,
Mary Suzanne.
enough of that.
That was Mary Suzanne.
Someone else's turn.
Mary Suzanne Cotter speaking there. The girl who could do no wrong because she was a precious young girl, the only girl in the family. And Martha took her around to dancing class, and Martha was a carpooling mom, right?
I was in the car all the time. It was either Mama or Daddy or Suzanne or Pat or.
And so one of the first
I'm
things
complaining about the same thing lately.
Martha, one of the first things Martha's given up is carpooling, right? Not even driving right now. You just like, you like to be taxi places. So you have driven people around enough, right?
Well, I tell you, I drove enough in those days. Daddy made me put the mileage, or he knew it, for every trip to the orthodontist and the dentist and Daddy to the doctor and everything, because you could take your gasoline or miles or something off to go to the doctor off your income tax.
Oh, we got to tell that other wonderful story about Daddy. How is it? We want you to tell that wonderful story about the milk at Walgreens.
Oh, everybody's heard
No, but
that.
you got to tell it in the movie, Martha.
I don't remember.
The story about Daddy and the milk at Walgreens. So,
Well, after Tommy retired, he started buying milk at Walgreens because it was cheaper. Gallons. And he sent me one time, and I said, I went that one time, and I said, I'm never going it back again. And I said, I don't know why you have to buy your milk at Walgreens anyway. Well, he continued. And after that, we had made 2 trips to Oregon for him to salmon fish. And I had an uncle there. First time he got one, second time he didn't. And I said, I'm never going back again. And I mean, not ugly, but I'm happy. You know, I don't want to go to Oregon again. And he agreed that, you know, we didn't need to go. Well, after that, I don't know how many, a year or two, Uncle Luke called me and said, tell Tom the salmon are running. And anyway, I didn't say anything about it. And then later I said, Uncle Luke said the salmon are running. And I don't know if it was later that day or the next day, he said, would you mind if I went to, I know you don't want to go, would you mind if I went to Oregon? And I said, you who buy your milk at Walgreens would spend all that money? And he said, that's why I buy the milk.
That was priceless. That was priceless, Daddy. That was a priceless.
Typical daddy.
And that's what, because Sean later has complained about the frugality of his father, Lynn Sawyer. Lynn digs stuff out of the garbage can, and I mean, he's a very frugal man. He shops, he's a coupon buyer. And of course, and when Sean was still in school in Lubbock, I mean, Lynn would fly him back and forth, and I said, don't you ever be fussing, Sean Sawyer, about your father being frugal about things, or coupon shopping, or buying the generic no-name brand, because he does that. It's like Daddy, he buys his milk at Walgreens so he can fly you back and forth from Lubbock. Exactly.
I'm the same way. I
Okay.
mean, she doesn't want me to shop at, where is it, Albertsons?
Albertsons, and that's
or
your name.
HEB, because that's where the poor people shop. Or
I
whatever.
shop there all the time.
You know, it's just that I'm like, I shop there, so I can have more things.
Yeah.
I can have more money.
That's what Brian was saying earlier. He said that you have expensive tastes.
You didn't tell him what I said about the camera, did you?
No.
You didn't tell him about
Ask
what?
Brian what she said about the camera.
You didn't tell him about what?
The camera.
Another story.
Oh,
This was going on Suzanne's movie. When we do Suzanne's movie. But one of the questions I was going to ask too, to see, you know, this is sort of like the newlywed game when they ask the wife the question, the husband goes back in the back and then he comes out to find out how really well he knows his wife. What we would like to ask is, does anyone, now you can't do a lot of research on this one, know off the bat, how many weddings Martha has attended, only her children and grandchildren's wedding. Now I didn't say how many marriages, because this is 2 different numbers, y'all. But how many weddings has Martha attended? I mean, just like pop a number out. How many weddings of her children and grandchildren has she attended?
16.
16. For this?
10. 16's the closest. All right, and how many weddings have there been?
17.
18.
Has Pat been married 3 times?
Hmm?
You been married?
what? What?
He said, well, we're saying the difference between how many weddings you've been to and how many marriages or weddings there have been. Because you haven't been to all of them. And you've been to most of them, though. And,
She didn't come to one of mine.
She didn't come to one of hers. You've been to all of mine. I've had 3 here, but you got married out of town, so that's why. She didn't get to Ann Jeanette's wedding, second wedding. She didn't get to Shannon's wedding. Of course, none of us did, because Shannon's very bizarre. So none of us went to Shannon's wedding. She didn't get to. Tracy's 2 weddings. Tracy's had 3, so she didn't get to 2 of Tracy's. It's because none of us got to those. Because
That's fine.
Tracy got married in Rochester, New York, right,
We
Fred?
got married on the run, yeah.
They got, this is my new son-in-law.
Fred.
And so how many is that I've said so far? So 2 of Tracy's, 1 of Pat's,
On the
1 of
run, Fred?
AJ's,
On the run from
and who else
immigration
did she go
officials.
to?
That's right.
Did you go to Rangers?
Well, yes, dear, she was. I didn't wait till you did remember
Well,
that.
both Pats have been married twice.
Yes, but you've been to both of Pat's weddings, but Pat is
We're,
Pat.
we're counting the ones that haven't been married, the ones you didn't go
Ones
to.
you didn't go to. Yeah, the one.
Two of Pat,
went to more
and one of Pat.
One of Pat's, two of Tracy's,
Two of Tracy, she did.
and Shannon's.
That's five. So
21.
Huh?
there's a statistician here. So how many, the number is, the official number of weddings for this family, children and grandchildren, has been 21. Now, but actually, if you go back and check, I think your number on 16 is slightly inaccurate. I've had 3. I swear to God, I had to keep writing this. I had to keep making those little marks. Like, my 3, your 2. I mean, I was counting first how many she's been to. Okay, my 3, your 2. That's 5. Your 2, that's 7.
Dylan.
Well, wait a minute. I'm not there yet. Her 2, I'm just doing kids right now.
Okay.
3, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now we've done kids, right? Now we're coming around to my children. And Jeanette 2.
3 times.
But she only went to one.
You married 3
But
times.
no, we're actually, okay, all right, so she only went to 1. So what's the count on that? What's the count? 10, okay. And Jeanette's 1. Kevin's 2. She's actually been to Kevin's 2 weddings.
I will.
Okay, so that's
And divorced
10,
3
11, 12.
times.
Is that where we are? Okay, then she's been to one of Tracy's, one of Tracy's, one of Christie's, one of Blaine's. You guys are so good that y'all not up in the big numbers here. One of Christie's, one of Blaine's, and one of, where am I now? And one of Dylan's. And one of Dylan's. So,
We're at 16.
is it 16? Well, cool. All right, so there's 16.
So I was right.
You're right. You win the prize. So 16 weddings that Martha's been to, and 21. That's the thing about the president. And so this is Pat's. I swiped that from her garage. Another one of my. No, this was in your thing you brought back from the drug company. So, well, we expected the phone to ring, and also somebody else was supposed to be coming because they did.
Cigarette breaks on this.
Yeah, we're going because
outside.
You're gonna have the guest of honor is leaving.
I guess if I we call it tobacco meditation.
Who's coming?
It's
Shannon,
my party.
on her way to the airport to St. Louis, she's actually coming. And then the phone's supposed to ring, and it's Anjanette's supposed to have called at 4 o'clock, so
When
6
else
hours later,
coming, little while?
it's 10 o'clock.
When else gonna come over?
Oh, good.
I
Well,
want you to meet her.
well, good, because, and is she gonna have a funny story for us?
No.
Are you coming back?
Huh?
Christy, you have a story.
Coming back?
Christy,
No,
you have a
no,
story.
no.
Your
Tell
story.
us a story.
Tell the story.
My mother is a very good cook, and
It's what?
Oh,
I'm gonna kill you.
but Blaine and I had applesauce every dinner ever, and we went to stay over here at Nana and Papa's, and she served us dinner, but there was no applesauce on it, and so therefore it wasn't really dinner, and we couldn't eat it because there wasn't any applesauce, and so she went to the store and got some after she'd already put the dinner all out.
Wasn't that nice? You went and got them
She did.
applesauce.
Went to go get it because we were sort of freaking
I
out.
did or Papa
You did. You did.
You did.
We went and got applesauce for us so that we could have dinner and have applesauce with it because we were so.
Now hear them tell it they had applesauce, fish sticks, stuffed bell peppers, and smoked fish.
Smoked fish
All
the
their
time.
life, every day, except Julie tells it that I never did even cook.
Yeah, we did. But we had applesauce because we had to put my little macaroni in it.
That's true.
Well, I thank you very much, all of you, for participating in my life, and this video, and for being in my life. And I love you all.
We love you.
Love you too.
Love you.
We're gonna
Let's all sing.
Let's all sing happy birthday.
Happy
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Monica. Happy birthday to you. Now let's do 77 Sunset Strip. 77 Sunset Strip.
77.
And then we'll have a little P.S. when Shannon comes and the phone call rings.
That will make you warm. That'll make you warm too. Okay?
I love the colors and those pants I had on the other day.
Yeah, see, that's what I thought.
Here's a 5-inch black and white for $40. That's pretty good.
Any more white or pink?
Put that on one black and white.
What?
I never bought a videotape. I went to the store, bought $2 for $5. And then my friend told me, I got a bunch of them free, but he says, it's not a 6-hour texture, it's only 2 hours. He says, that's the 6 hours if you run at the absolute slow, whatever.
Trent, what are you eating?
He's got one of the orange candy.
Candies. Is that candy? Can I have a bite? Can I have a bite?
Well, I don't want to bite after that.
No. Please. Would you share with Mama?
I want you to see Martha's birthday. I want her to read his birthday card. This backyard has
There's a good shot.
a lot of generations. How many generations have been in this backyard? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4. In this one backyard. They used to have a swing set. Where's that swing set we used to swing on?
She gave away my swing set. Can you believe that?
I don't think she gave it
Put
away,
it in
actually.
her
I think finally it rusted. I think it rusted so bad the kids would have needed a tetanus shot to get on it.
I wouldn't want to get on it yet. I'd be scared.
Thank you.
She's out
She's out there, she's out there.
You better run out there and thank
I know
her.
what this is. We were together.
Oh,
It goes with her outfit.
Oh. Who's that from, Christy?
It's from Julie.
Julie, she's opening your
That's
present,
what
honey.
Pat gave me. Oh, it's beautiful.
Wayne?
That's beautiful, thank you.
You're welcome. Did you open that?
Yeah.
right.
She had opened mine first. I didn't know that was yours. Yeah. That worked out good. You want to put that down there?
Yeah.
Christy?
What?
Go get what you're looking
Oh, I have to go get it?
at.
That's what everybody got to do.
Careful, honey, careful. Excuse me, but I'm a grandma now. Don't pull her arms out of the socket like we used to do with Kevin when he was little.
Do it again. Do it again.
That one is an orange. That one is green.
I
probably gonna share with
I
you.
pray for all of, not one by one, but every night I pray for
Not one by
all the Cotter children and grandchildren.
It takes you and Mel to go to sleep.
I know.
She named them by name.
It would take us forever. It'd take forever. Yeah. That's like Kelly when Kelly says
Yeah,
her prayer.
I don't have time.
Name them all off.
The word all is a good word.
Yeah, it's all of them. There's Susan, Kevin. That egg is got
You're
this
so
present
dirty.
right there on the.
Angela calls them.
Oh, thank
Those
you, that's
muscle
so
guys
sweet.
that walk on, call them carpet fitters because they walk around with it's like rolls of carpet under their arms, you know? And so I said about Trent, it's the littlest carpet fitter I've ever seen. He's such a little muscle man.
Something heavy, huh? Wow. Isn't that beautiful?
You guys said, come here, let's wipe you off. Let's go wipe you off. So daddy, so daddy.
He's all cheeky, Daddy.
It's bath oil and.
It's a candle. It's a burning thing.
You don't have to take a bath.
You can't just decorate.
It's so pretty. Gorgeous. I thought you'd given me a bit of booze.
That's what I said. What is that? I said gin.
Crown Royal, Crown Royal.
I do a sculpture, you don't have to open it.
Oh, that's
You
pretty.
made that.
She did have one continuous piece of wire.
That's gorgeous. That's gorgeous.
Well, thank you.
You're so talented.
She's very talented.
You know what? Speaking of, when I had Christy at Spiritual Heights the other day, I introduced her as a
children's
illustrator of
book
children's books,
illustrator.
and there was some woman that came rushing right over and said she's written a children's book.
And the lady said, "Oh, let me have your card." It's like, yeah, I'm gonna whip out a card that says children's book illustrator.
And then
Vagabond.
and then
And
and then Shannon writes children's books, and she knows someone that has published children's books that has an artist in New York. And I said, Christy does children's books, and she says, good.
she's done a children's
Well,
book once.
okay.
It's a little bit different than that. That's my
It's nice to have somebody in your corner, though, isn't
It
it?
is.
But Shannon, because you already have a lot of books to illustrate, so you
I
better
do?
be.
Oh, I better get on it?
You better get on
Okay.
it.
I'll have to go to New York. Who's crying in there?
There's
Thank you.
Bye, Trent.
Who's that from? Oh, that's from Christy. Your lines are in. Okay. In case you haven't spoken to me.
He's getting watched. He's getting watched.
Now I want you to read that funny card in the yellow envelope. We gotta let Martha read that one because that is too funny.
Where's my mom? She's going to be washing Trent off, I think. He had orange, whatever on him. Oh, yeah.
Grab those. The one's funny and one's not funny. This
I
card
will
is.
have be smoking a cigarette in this.
Yeah.
Every picture of Blanche and I, we've got a drink in one hand and a cigarette in the other.
Did you get one, Mom?
And Martha, what does that say?
Ah, here we go, Martha. To adjust the tension control on your miracle lift chambers. Turn the release knob counterclockwise.
Open it up.
Open it up. She's up against the wall.
What does it
Here's
say?
hoping your birthday finds you sitting pretty. Isn't that funny?
I want Pat to see that. Where's Uncle Pat? Where's Uncle Pat? No, in the bag in the room right behind the little, in my little starter bag, so it's line. Line, so you have to bring the line.
No, Kelsey, you're too little.
Well, I think I can get in there for them. You don't understand.
Kelsey.
At least I'll lock it.
What? That's what I say. See, you're like me.
The leg
You're talking about the arm socks, is what I'm worried about.
Seeing where?
Derek, not quite so strong.
Not at Eckerd's or...
No, it's
Derek!
What?
no, bigger ones. We'll have them. Those air caps are pretty horrible. In fact,
Who's gonna choke you
they're
around?
on crutches. But then
Oh, I hate those
for
kids.
sports,
I
they're
do
a
like
good job.
I do like those.
Thank
Like
you.
curious
Canvas
kids.
braces, they have a separate arm over a sock.
Where's Uncle Pat? Oh, he's here. Christy!
They're pretty cheap.
She's a light little Gemini. but
Sticks
she's-
of lace up.
She's a daredevil, that's all.
She's that one. Those are pretty hard. Activities or...
She doesn't get dizzy?
That just
Really?
all the time.
That's what she's in. Not like that, girl. Look at her, look at her.
No,
She's not even dizzy.
I wore
Right
Sarah's
there.
one day to run.
The air caps isn't mine though. It's so bad. My friend Leslie, she broke her ankle like a year ago and she was like,
Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh.
The air caps are hot.
That's bad. That's right, you can't shake your kids. I used to shake my kids, and now I find out you can't do that. That's child abuse.
I'm not supposed to do that.
Poorly babies. I think I gave Anjanette a vertebrae trouble.
Actually, help me. What?
got it.
Hey, hey, hey.
Now, we didn't get Blaine to say any story. Blaine didn't give any Nana story. Hey, Blaine. Blaine, you're gonna give a Nana story. You gotta sit down in that chair. Or you can stand up.
I don't talk, remember?
No, you do talk.
I don't really talk.
Yeah, well, you may not talk much, but you talk.
Bye.
Can I have a bite?
Can
I have a bite?
Can I have a bite? Can I have a bite?
Don't give you a bite. A game of pins is like...
Thank you.
Thank you, precious boy. Thank you,
Hey,
Trent.
give Mama a bite. Give Mama a bite.
Are you gonna be nice now?
Oh, it's on the bathroom. He's got orange stuff on the bathroom. Oh, well, thanks.
Wow.
Now we got to get Ashley to get a grandma top because you're like her favorite grandchild and
Give it-
staying here and coloring and
Give it to
keeping her
Nina.
company.
Give a bite to
We gotta
Nina
get you-
now.
Well, when we do the kids
Give,
thing,
give
we
a
do-
bite to Nina. Give a bite to Nina.
Thank you. Had to get one of those in 100
I mean, me either, me either.
What was
I
that?
hate them.
It's a peanut.
That artificial coloring on it, it's whatever that taste is.
Oh, good.
See you later.
He's trying to give you a bite of his candy.
Just pull the tissue out, Mom.
Thank you so
Just pull the tissue out. Just pull the tissue out.
Take care. Take care. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. You here.
Wonderful.
Nice to see you. You're such a stranger.
You're not
like
ours.
Soon. Probably will. We'll catch you on the trip back then. Okay.
Listen, you gotta, we gotta know. He can't is a gourmet cook. Y'all may need it at the restaurant. He's a
Mommy,
chef.
no, do not touch
They
this.
can't figure out what country's gonna start it in.
Oh, you'll get to
See?
travel around and find one.
Nina?
I mean, you might be America,
Nina,
might be
it's
Australia,
Mommy.
might be South Korea.
See Nina?
Yeah.
Well, then let the kids say something.
See Nina?
All right. Good. Say something before we go.
Yeah. All right. Stephanie and Derek got to give a grandma a story because y'all are getting ready to go.
Well, you haven't had any cake.
Yeah, get ready to have cake.
We're ready to have cake.
Yeah, we're getting ready to have cake.
Gotta have dinner.
Well, we're gonna have cake. They gotta have cake before they go. You want to cut the cake real quick? Let's bring it out here and cut it.
Well, no, Lynn's at the house. We started dinner. We expected to be back by now. I don't know. Tom wants to work out. He's supposed to come in, I guess. I have no idea. Lynn's his keeper. Lynn didn't
You
know.
see?
I'm a keeper and this the other's
I know, you cannot touch.
So,
Trent, Nina wants
You're his keeper.
I heard you did a somersault. You did a somersault?
Well,
Yeah.
he's being a bad boy.
That's Nina.
on the way to the airport, she'll be here.
That's Nina, yes. You see Nina?
They gotta have cake for the party. Are y'all cooking seafood? You cooking fish?
No, cook out 4 beef briskets and
Oh, so it's
some knockwurst, bratwurst.
What time's dinner?
Yeah, I don't know. It's I think Lynn's having a hard time finding things at the house.
Is that the
Have
12
him-
minutes ago?
Have him just
No.
bring it over here.
Pack it up. Come on down.
Suzanne made a brisket last Sunday.
And that brisket was dynamite.
Did you make our biscuits and gravy this morning? Did you save any? Did you save me one? Christy, did you get biscuits and gravy, honey?
Chris is here.
Hey!
Chris is here. Shannon's here.
Oh, good, okay.
Still the party?
Hey, Miss Claudine.
Oh, hey, Christopher, give Nana a hug. It's her birthday. Say happy birthday, Nana.
Hi. Glad to see you.
Open it up.
Well, I'm trying.
Martha, I made Shannon. I insisted on them stopping to see you on their way to the airport. So Shannon and them have just arrived. So you got Shannon and Chap and Christopher and Haley. That's how Christopher got here.
I'll give you one of mine. Well, hello.
She's on her way to St. Louis. There she is. Hey! Hey, Haley girl. Say happy birthday.
Come here,
to
honey.
you.
Come here. Come here. I'll come outside too, okay? I'm coming outside too, okay?
It's a birthday party.
Traffic jam here, right? Oh, yeah. She's going to be all uncomfortable now.
She doesn't go.
There she is. Here she is. Here's Mama. There's the birthday lady. She's filming. So Ryan is filming it all. The Capricorn filmer.
How's she doing?
Hello.
You can have about 2 hours of your viewing pleasure.
Hi, this is Shannon. Nice to meet you. This is Shannon.
Another Capricorn. Another Capricorn. All the Capricorns are in this house.
Haley's not.
Come here,
I can't see you. You're not there.
Come in there, yeah.
He's a little quiet.
Not real happy today.
Well, she knows your G-O-I-N-D away.
Yeah, no, it's
Okay,
all right.
She's the second born
Oh,
child,
you
second
know
born
it's
child
that.
like the mother, but she's clingy. She don't want her mom to go.
I see you. You're not there. Where did I go? Oh my
Got all the
God.
kids around.
I disappeared.
Then she sees you swinging, killing, and shit like that.
Oh, that's, I like that.
No,
You know, I've got a pair of red pants on there to wear.
And she doesn't told you. She hasn't shown nothing on your Here's Tab, yay! Martha's newest son-in-law.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Right, hey Tab.
Here, give me a hug.
That's all right.
Okay, yeah, you give her
I'm
the
camera
cards.
shy.
We'll give her the cards.
Oh my God.
Oh, no. No, Kelly, breakable, don't bother
Oh,
that.
tap.
That's Nana's
Oh,
birthday.
what?
Have you even met Christine? Yes.
Hi.
This is Angelo.
Hi,
Angelo.
Angelo.
Congratulations.
Grandma kisses. Oh, thank you. We're finally official 5 years later. Yeah.
Give everybody kisses.
What do you think about that?
You gotta get some cake, Kevin.
Hi, how are you? Awfully nice
Oh, I
to
like
see you,
that.
pal. You good?
But yeah, I know.
Oh, wow.
Ours is gonna
Bodine.
have
It's got color,
Christopher
but it's,
Bodine.
you gotta look through the hole.
Now come on,
You got any
Blaine.
Calling her
Grandma?
man all day.
Come on,
Yeah.
Blaine. Come on, sit down out here.
Tap's been.
You gotta get some cake before you go, Kevin.
He used to call us
No.
Indian.
I know, it used to a long
And
time
I
ago.
said that, so I remember you
Where's the
calling
birthday
her
card?
Anna. Oh, yeah.
You'll have to put it in a Ziploc. Spoil your appetite.
Well, Suzanne's probably cutting the cake for you now, Stephanie. You tell Nan a little story before you go so we can get a story of you talking on tape. Well, what do you remember about Nana when you first met her?
It's always
Grab bag. You remember the grab bag? What do you remember about the grab bag?
That's good. Come on, Kelly. Happy Christmas.
That's right.
You remember grab bag over here at this house, though? It's Pawpaw in a big old black bag, right? Is that how old has she been? Huh?
Huh?
78, 79.
What year were you born, Stephanie?
Big old swing set back
Chris,
there.
no.
Oh, well, okay.
I know. I was just saying. Where's this?
Oh, coming through.
In the compost pile.
And this must be Janelle.
Sorry.
This is Serena.
Hi, Janelle. Hello. Nice to meet you finally.
I'm getting a lot of butts in here.
You met Tracy before.
Yes.
Hello, boy.
What? What'd you do?
Yeah, and Brian.
Say hello.
Hello.
That's Freddie's other daughter, Serena's other daughter, Shannon. And her husband, Tab.
And Megan.
This is great. You know Angela and Christy.
I'm lucky.
And this is my nephew, Kevin.
So we just shoot backwards now.
Derek, do you remember a story to tell about Nana?
You got a secret? You got a secret past or something?
Oh my God, that scared
You
me.
gotta remember a story
Wow,
that you
backwards.
remember.
Hey, that was pretty interesting.
Except we need to
Don't you
change
remember
the.
grab bag thing?
Oh, you should be
That's
did
amazing.
this interview. Everybody asked her
I like
questions
that.
about her life.
It's almost sort of like the, I mean, the digital camera is really similar to that. I mean,
Are you
it's-
cutting that cake, Suzanne, honey?
one we got
It's,
30 times.
Actually, the big thing is like you're in a crowd or something, you know, and you're about 8 rows back, you know, and you're too short to see anything. You just raise it, ready, so yeah, just turn it.
Shannon, I just told a story about you.
Yeah, like a golf tournament or something if you're on the green right there.
Yeah, that'd be great.
My God.
What?
We were talking about sex. We were talking
Well,
about.
like, leave me out of the whole situation.
We're in the birthday party. We don't need to talk
We
about
already
that.
talked about it on camera.
Oh,
You better
really?
watch the movie you get to see.
No, it's
Okay.
okay.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God.
It's only about 2
No,
hours
because we
long.
were talking about how Martha didn't talk about sex to Mama and
That's when they so
No,
tapes, right?
embarrassed cat.
I'm not gonna embarrass that.
Where do you get these, the big VHS tapes? What, just like a Radio Shack or something?
Well, just tape machine.
Your hair
Or you
gets
can get one inside the regular size one to put into your...
Well, actually, what we do is we just tape it on the VCR.
Yeah.
Copy it over to the VCR. So this thing has a couple lines.
I've got one
right
right now.
It hooks straight up to the VCR.
Yeah. Well, I got one. I'm getting a pawn shop.
you were so heavy,
I can
honey.
get it, you know.
Oh yeah.
It's a nice camera.
You want to look
yeah.
out here?
But,
There's Nan. All right.
Just kidding.
Everyone
Happy
else say
birthday
it.
to you.
No, wait.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Nana. Happy birthday to you.
Talk about my emphysema.
Nina, Nan, and Mom, Martha. Okay.
Those are candles that blow out? Don't blow out. You blew them out, oh good. What happened to that cake's got a hump in it? No,
It sure does.
Or is
When
it
I went
me?
to Sam's, I was like, I hope that's not our cake. It was our cake.
Really? Don't keep blowing back in the cake.
Taylor, you're such a good helper. Here.
Clean those candles off, you guys.
We gotta clean the candles. Hope you don't want to use them again.
What do you think, Cal? Nina, Nana, Mom, Martha. Oh, that's good, that's good. Here. Martha Nail. Yeah. I don't want
Oh, you don't want an infant?
Oh, I do. I'll take your hand piece. Thank you. That's a lovely piece of cake.
I want the flower one. I want flower one too.
I'm gonna take mine to the yard.
She's going to the yard.
Taking the yard, too. Chelsea?
Daddy,
I'll get you some, John. He's going to get you some. Just a minute. A flower
Happy
one.
birthday, Mark.
We're gonna take it to the.
With a new baby.
No, it'll be good. You'd probably want to wear nights with a new baby. The man would anyway. It'd be terrible for Tracy.
You finished with your cake?
Say, good.
Guess what, Taylor?
I'm tired.
Let me see. Hold up your motorcycles. There you go. Hold them sideways. Turn them sideways.
Putting my clothes in the
Upside down. Okay. We're going down. There we go. See the rear end of it. Exhaust. All right.
No, you
That's
got
good.
Kaylee and Christopher.
That's good.
Shannon and Taps, Tracy's little children, and they just got married February 13th, 1998.
We'll do a quick. We'll do a quick one now. Here, okay.
All right, so it's Mark's newest son-in-law after Fred, who's from Canada. And no, wait a minute. Fred was first, and then Steve, who's not here in England, and then Taps. So new son-in-law. So tell a story that you remember about Nana.
Let's see, I remember a story. Well, I remember actually a really nice time that she and I had going to, she and I went to church together, first time. I can remember going to, what was it, Saint, where's the church over there in the Heights? What's the name of that church?
All Saints.
All Saints, there we go. And seeing Papa there and sitting next to, was your uncle? Was Uncle,
Oh, the day y'all.
Uncle Max.
Uncle Matt, no?
Uncle Max went to the Catholic
No,
church.
it was Uncle Luke was here.
Uncle Luke was there. It was Uncle Luke, and him telling me all throughout the service, talking about World War II. That was just really interesting.
They
Really
were
interesting
in
day.
charge of me for that. Suzanne had that really big party for me.
Yeah,
At her house.
that's
yeah.
right. That was a
No,
surprise.
here.
It was here.
Oh,
We had taken,
My
we were in charge of
70th
taking her.
birthday.
That's right. That's right.
Oh,
And I mean, people came, you know, couples, and she really worked hard on that.
Yeah, that was good.
It was so nice.
what do you remember from Nana as a little girl?
Oh, just her coming every time we came over here, and she would break out Suzanne's Barbie dolls for us.
Oh.
And we would play. Oh, I loved them. Loved playing with the Barbies, and Papa loved me coming out to the compost pile, picking worms for him. And Tracy used to get really scared going out there because there's grass snakes, and I loved it. And I'd always
This
get
is the same yard, all these
the
45
same
years
yard.
later.
I remember exactly everything.
Well, I don't think we ever had the grass get that out.
There was a compost heap in the corner.
yeah.
Daddy used to have a compost
Well,
heap.
there was just there was a weird snake in there.
Where'd you come from?
And I pulled out thinking it was a worm and pulled it, and then it was obviously very, very long. And Tracy was right there. Tracy got really scared. I thought it was really funny.
In this yard right here,
In this yard, Sean's on the seesaw getting stung by bees.
were there houses back there then?
Yeah.
The houses were back
And
there.
there were still snakes in the
This
yard
is a
here.
compost heap Daddy had back in
Yeah,
the
the
Oh,
right
okay.
in the
compost heap was
corner.
in the
All
corner.
right. Okay.
And then going over to, like I was just thinking, I just remembered Christy and I used to play down in Aunt Blanche's huge yard. That thing was so huge. And going down within the trees, going beyond her yard and going where the little stream was. I got lots of memories.
Well, and remember, tell about, because Pat needs this on the thing for Roy Don. Remember going to stay with Christy and Roy Don in Louisiana?
Oh, Christian Road, yes.
Because you were
that
telling
was
me this.
Great fun. Great fun. Always, my gosh, we were always so busy doing, just, Roy Don always had us busy. We were making ice cream, homemade ice cream. It was around 4th of July time, so we'd gone. That was the first time I'd gone water skiing, and Roy Don and they were so patient with me.
Yeah, me too.
Because it took me 11 times to, finally on the 11th time I got up and skied for a long time.
And so how old were you when you stayed in Louisiana with them?
I was in 4th or 5th grade, 9 or 10.
It took you 11 times.
Took me 11 times to get up on the skis.
And so,
Take a ski in.
did you have biscuits and gravy there at that round table with that Lazy Susan?
I don't think so.
Was this Lafayette? Was this
Yeah, Lafayette.
I like that house.
That was a beautiful house, a big old pool in the backyard.
Yeah.
That was really nice.
Are you okay? Did they have the,
Yeah, we might have
did he have the Mustang convertible, Roy Don?
No, he didn't have that until she moved to Eagle Rock.
Shake it off.
No, they had that in Lafayette. They had it in Lafayette.
Oh, did they? Well, I don't know. That was the one she
See
got for
Nina?
Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Smell
Her
them,
birthday.
See Nina? Now go kiss the tree.
Go kiss the tree. Go kiss the tree so Daddy can film you.
Yeah.
And so, Tap, what do you remember about Nana?
Nothing, he hadn't known me that.
You're a Taurus.
For being here one Christmas for 3 hours, everybody's stealing everybody's presents for 3 hours.
That was the time that
It's a house of thieves.
Oh, I'm telling you.
that juicer.
The juicer?
Everybody wanted the juice.
I wasn't here. Was I in England or Scotland or somewhere?
Yeah, probably.
And Dylan had it.
Oh,
I mean,
everybody
he
did
had the
want
last number.
Didn't AJ end up in?
No.
I wonder how many juices Dylan has made with
I
that
know.
juicer.
By the way, does anyone know how many grandchildren and great-grandchildren Martha has?
I have no idea.
Give it to
She
Mom.
has 12 grandchildren and 10 great-grandchildren.
Wow.
That's even counting the one that's coming, so that's counting the one that's in there.
Wow.
That's a bunch. A dozen and almost a dozen.
Haley, stop picking up.
And nobody, we don't have great-great-grandchildren yet, thank goodness. Isn't that right,
That
man?
ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen.
That ain't gonna happen?
That ain't
Well,
gonna
they're a while off for the
They're
great-grandchildren.
too young. I know,
That's
I know.
Ashley and Haley's and Christopher's and Megan's and Derek and Stephanie's.
Go find Christmas.
And Sean, we don't have any children from Sean yet either, so
Her birthday was so beautiful.
we don't have any grandchildren from Sean.
I
He never
myself
found his
and
ring.
took her to church. So we kept her in church while you had everything over here.
Someone lost a
And
ring
I just
today?
I know my son lost his class ring. He graduated from college in Lubbock and he
It was
went to
just, it
Spy
was really funny.
with his friend Tim and Tim
whole-
got real drunk
whole time
and
during the service,
walking
he
out the
would just
parking
sit there
lot,
and tell me
somebody
about World War
said
II.
something crooked to
He talked
Tim
about
and
World War
he was drunk.
It
He
was
got in a real big
and I
fight
was
and
into
Sean
it, too.
jumps in and helps him.
I was just
And he
so-
lost his class ring that Lynn and Kevin bought him for $400.
We're all in the same.
Yeah, they went
Well, they've
back,
gotten high.
went back to look for it.
It's on.
And to finalize, this was your life, this is your life, Martha, Nell, Kyle, Boyd, Cotter. We're coming into your Rogues Gallery, which you have gathered all your grandchildren and great-grandchildren and children, 5 kids, 12 grandchildren and 10 great-grandchildren. And our wonderful photographer, Brian Franson, is even now photographing Ann Jeanette, Megan's back there, a whole bunch of little people right here at Tracy's wedding. Well, that's a dusty picture, and that's a fat lady sitting next to her. And who is that fat lady? Ugh, I don't know her. Whoops. Roy Don and Pat got all these kids are phone over. This is Trent, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Oh.
Kelsey, or Taylor, Taylor.
That's Taylor? Mm-hmm. I never have seen that picture. Okay, and there's Taylor and Stephanie and Daniel and Kelsey and sexy little Christy here with her sexy earrings on, and this is Christy. And this is lovely Taylor and Kelsey together looking up, and here's adorable little Taylor. There's Pat and Roy Don. There's, of course, Anjanette's glamour shot. That's Julie and Blaine and their lovely young love shot. And then we have, of course, Jimmy Boyd,
firstborn child, Martha. Lovely, wonderful Jimmy, Leo. Love him. Pat, looking sexy there in those old-timey clothes. Beautiful Suzanne, Ashley's mom. And who is that right there? Is that you? That's Ashley? Ashley, baby, look at that girl. Isn't she adorable? And then we have a single mom, Serena, with Shannon, Sean, Tracy, Kevin, and Anjanette, with very interesting hairdos. And then we have adorable, cute little Pat with his finger in his mouth and his fat little cheeks to go along with his fat little tummy. And precious Suzanne down here. And who is it? So this is Jessica and Laura sitting up in there. We're running out of frames and places to put them. And then there is Christy sitting here. Christy is not, where is Christy right now? Where's she?
I don't know. I thought she was maybe going to come, but maybe she had to work or something.
And there's precious Dylan.
Oh, look at him.
And then there's, look at that wonderful hairdo. Blaine and Christy and Pat and Roy Don. And lovely little Ashley. And that's you at the top, isn't it, too?
Right here?
Yeah.
That's Brandon.
Oh, that's Brandon. Oh, that does look like a boy. Okay, that's Brandon. And then we have Serena and David. And there's Jessica, my first grandchild, who's now 13, with Sean, AJ, Jerry, Shannon, Kevin, and Tracy. Then we have the school kids. We have Blaine and Christy there. And then we have, this is Pat's wedding at Unity Church to Connie, with Nana, Connie, Pat, Daddy, Mama, Blanche, Suzanne, Serena, Pat, Roy Don, and Uncle Mac. There's a whole bunch of them there. And then, of course, another sexy shot of Blaine and Christy. And that pretty much is this deal. And then here's just some more.
See, it might be pretty dark. I don't know how these are.
Okay. Well, and there's not another line here. Oh, no. Okay, so we have Tracy when she graduated from high school. We've got Uncle Mac, Blanche. I can't see. Who is in that picture?
Mom and my dad.
Oh. Okay, your mom and your dad.
That's their
Okay.
wedding.
Well, that's their wedding picture. Okay,
Yeah.
I never even saw that picture.
I didn't even know that was them either till I looked.
And then there's Jessica and Ashley. And Suzanne looking glamorous as well. And then we have Brandon. And then we have Anjanette and Jessica at the very end. And this is, who is this on the bottom?
That's my mom.
Is that Suzanne?
Yeah, I think. Ashley, is Trent back?
Is this you, darling?
No.
Is this you, Suzanne?
Okay. Which
This
one?
is you on the bottom.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I didn't know that was you. And then we have Dylan and Christy and Brandon all in one picture, all Pat's kids. So this is the Rose Gallery, and we're going to have to add a wall and get Pat to do some more framing. Oh, and that's coming, showing up good.
Well, we'll see.
Well, all of that Irish family that immigrated to the United States, the Cotter descendant and all the other descendants that have come together, have certainly been very fertile and had lots of kids and lots of beautiful years together, growing up. And we continue to be together and grow.
Come on.
And love.
He's gonna go with that.
Amen.
Okay, Ashley,
It's my turn.
it's time for a Nina story.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess probably one of the things that sticks in my mind most is spring break that me and Brandon spent with Nina, where we drove up the wall and she swore she'd never do it again. Never thought I'd see Nina that mad, but
Why was she mad?
well, we fought over the Nintendo and we got in the pantry and we got garbage bags and spread the whole roll across the whole backyard and we just caused problems for her. And she was just ready to shoot us. But then there's the good things about Nina. She's always there and she had me over all the time when my mom was gone and make me SpaghettiOs and peaches and biscuits and scrambled eggs and we'd go to the movies or to the mall. We just had fun together. That's about it. Play solitaire.
You play solitaire together?
I mean, no. Wrong card game. We played war. And go fish a lot. Made SpaghettiOs.
And Trent, what are your thoughts on Nina?
Well, Nina, I guess that's
Nina.
what.
Hi, I'm Dylan Cotter,
Hi, I'm Christy Cotter.
and Nina's very, very special and dear to my heart. I'm sure Christy feels the same way.
Absolutely. That's my Nene.
And I've always called Nina Nina instead of Nana because when I was younger, Well, I have a speech problem, and so I could only manage to say Nina, and so she's always been my Nina to me.
And because of Dylan's speech problem, I'll call Nina Nina. And Brandon's called Nina Nina. And Ashley's called Nina Nina.
Nina is, she's always been there for me in my life. She's been very giving, very loving, and very special. She's, I remember when I was younger, coming over and playing at Nina's and using her big thing of Crayolas she had in a big tub and coloring, and with Papa and Nina go in and get to cut their yard and work over at their house, and they would give me a little extra cash, and so that was fun when I was growing up. And I remember Christmases were always fun here at the Cotter house, and one year in particular I had wanted this football game, one of those electronic football games, and I just had to have it. It was one of those that vibrated and shook, and well, I never heard the end of how long it took to find that football game, and I still play with it today, actually. I love that football game.
We played it earlier. Well, Nina, let me tell you about my Nina. Nina's my grandmother, and she, just as Dylan said, she's always there for me when I need her. And Nina's also my friend. You know, we go to lunch. I see Nina, you know, at least maybe once a week, or lately since I'm here now in Houston. And I've always talked to her, you know, once a week. She's my friend. She's as well as my grandma, my grandmother. And let's see, what stories do I know about Nina? I do recall one little story, and that was one time on one of our many little outings to lunch, or maybe taking her to Kaplan's or something like that. Nina, little speed demon Nina, got us in a little wreck. Just driving along, and Nina, well, actually she ran through a stop sign. And it was quite an adventure. And it's something, a little story Nina always tells about how I Nina. I guess, I mean, it wasn't funny at the time, but it was a story.
One of my favorite things about Nina, as a person, is that she tells it like it is. She is so honest. She tells you what is on her mind, and that's what I love most about Nina. She tells the story, and if something's tacky, that's what I'm fair. She will tell you, oh, how tacky! That's what I love most about Nina, is that she's really honest, and she lets you know how she's feeling. That's a great trait.
What else about our Nene?
Pause.
What? Oh, okay.
Well, I just like to say thank you, Nina, for everything. And thank you for being such a wonderful grandmother and always being there for me and for all of us. And I enjoy our visits, enjoy our talks. Very special to me.
I'd like to say thank you, Nina, for being there in my life, and thank you for being such an honest and good role model for the younger generation, and letting letting others know that you should say what's on your mind and be true to your family. Very true to us. I love you.
Love you, Nene.
A story that...
Go.
I've got a story that Nina thinks is kind of comical, and I guess it's kind of funny if you think about it. I was a little boy, and we were over at a friend of hers house, Lottie's, and we're having lunch. I think Christy was over there with me, too. And so here I am in the room, and there's bearskin rugs on the floor, and there's these animal heads on the wall, and all these just fancy taxidermied animals. And so I go up to Nina, and I say, Nina, I said, is her husband a zookeeper? She got a big kick out of that. It's one of Nina's favorite stories.
Am I talking?
Yeah, you're
I'm
talking.
Oh, I was just going to tell a little story Nina wanted me to tell about how, well, she always got a kick out of it. Every time I'd go over to my dad's house on the weekends, and we'd go to church or whatnot, I had to wear these pink socks. I just had to wear these pink socks. It didn't matter if I was wearing a yellow dress, a blue dress, but pink socks it was, and that was neat like that. So.
You throw a fit.
And I threw a big tantrum. I didn't have those pink socks. That's my story.
And I'm sticking to it.
And I'm sticking to it.